Hey everyone, it's Laura here from makingcardsisfun.com, and it's time for another Saturday Stamp Day card and video. Today I'm going to start out with a piece of 4" by 5¼ watercolor cardstock, and I'm going to do some stamping on that, and I'm going to use the rectangle and triangle stamp set by Woody and Walter for that. I'm going to be stamping a ton of these rectangles, so I'm going to mount a couple of them on an acrylic block. I'm not going to use each rectangle, but I'm going to use quite a few of them. I think I'll be using about 5 or 6 of them. So I'm going to kind of mount them together on my craft sheet first. So I'm going to kind of form like a pattern over here. So just mounting them together. Okie dokie, so I just lined up these stamps, and now I'm going to pick them up using an acrylic block. Okay, there we go. And then you like form your own border stamp, which stamp the background. And I'm going to ink up these borders, and then I'm going to stamp the first row of rectangles. Okay, so I'm pushing it quite hard because there are like these patterns that are quite difficult to stamp, so you have to put a lot of pressure on these stamps if you want like a really crisp result. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle the embossing powder on there, and I'm using the white opaque embossing powder by Wow. This is my favorite white embossing powder. Okay, so I just sprinkled these rectangles with the embossing powder, and now I'm just going to keep on stamping the rectangles. Okay, so as you can see, I completely stamped and covered up my piece of watercolor cardstock using the Wow embossing powder and the Versamark ink. So right now I'm going to heat emboss it. And I'm going to hold the piece of paper with my tweezers because I just don't want to mess up the embossing powder. Okay, so now I'm going to start heat setting it. I just heat set the piece of paper, and as you can see, the rectangles look really cool, but of course this needs some color, so I'm going to do that using some watercolor paints. Okay, so as I said before, I'm going to do some watercoloring using some watercolors, and I'm using this watercolor palette by Simply Art. And first I'm going to adhere this piece of paper onto another piece of watercolor cardstock, and I just like to use this, well, to paint. So I always adhere my piece of cardstock on it, and then it's kind of protected by the watercolor cardstock underneath. And I also use this to swatch colors, so I used it this time to figure out which watercolor colors I should use. So I'm going with like a green minty color, and then a pink, a coral, and a yellow. So first I'm going to add water onto the piece of cardstock, and I'm just using my paintbrush for that. You could also use a mister if you would like to. So first I'm going to add the yellow over here, and I'm going to add it in the corner. So I'm just kind of dropping the color, and I'm letting the water do its work. And I'm going to add the coral color, and it looks like an orange on the palette, but when you use it, it is like this soft peachy corally color. There are a lot of pink colors in this palette, and I just really love that. There are just like a ton of pinks and purples, and it's just, this watercolor palette is just simply amazing. I just could use it the whole time because it has so many colors, and they are all so beautiful. And I'm going to add like this minty color. It looks like a super bright green on the palette itself, but when you mix it with a lot of water, it is like a mint color, so that's just awesome, I think. Okay, and I'm going to add it over here. Okay, and I'm also going to add a hint of blue, and I'm using the blue over here. And I'm using it with a lot of water because I don't want the blue to be really bright. So now I'm going to heat set this so that the colors can dry, and there we go. I'm going to use a circle die cut, and I'm going to use the W+9 circles, and I'm using the biggest circle in this set. So I am going to put it over here, and I'm just going to run that through my Big Shot machine. Just die cut the circle, and this is how it looks. So I'm going to mount this on a standard size A2 note card, and I cut and scored this using some Nina 110 pound white cardstock. This cardstock is just great for card bases, and I use it all the time. So I use the big, the bold, and the happy, and I'm also going to use Bubble Talk. I'm going to stamp the beautiful hello. This is like my favorite stamp ever. It's just so gorgeous. Words cannot explain how much I love this. So I'm going to use the hello, and then I'm also going to use let's see, You're a Rock Star. This time I'm going to use some Memento Tuxedo black ink to stamp the greetings. And this is my favorite black ink because it doesn't smudge or smear, and it dries pretty quickly as well. You can use it with Spectrum Noir or Copic markers, so it's just really great. I'm going to stamp the hello over here. So now I'm going to use some acetate because I'm going to create a sequin shaker. And I'm using some acetate by Judykins. So I'm just going to adhere this on the back of the piece of watercolored cardstock. So what I'm going to do is quite simple. I'm just going to make like a frame of foam, of tape first around the circle, so I can adhere the piece of acetate. There we go. I'm just going to adhere it over here. So when you're creating a sequin shaker, you always need a frame of foam tape. So I'm going to use some foam tape. You can also use like foam squares if you would like to, but I honestly recommend using foam tape because it's just a lot easier to do that when you're creating a sequin shaker. So here's the frame of foam tape that I created, so it will, you know, I'm going to put it on the card like this, but first I need to use some sequins to fill up the shaker. So some sequins that I really like lately are the Summer Mix sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. So you have like a bag of the Summer Mix sequins, but then you also have like the flower sequins, and these are part of the Summer Embellishment Kit. So I'm going to use these two bags of sequins to fill up my shaker, and I'm also going to use some of the mini lemon drops sequins and then some of the mini pink peonies sequins to fill up the shaker. Should be good. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of foam tape on the sides of this cardstock because I'm going to adhere it on the card. Peel off all the backer sheets. So just peel off all the backer sheets, and now I'm going to adhere this on the card. So I'm going to try to line this up as straight as possible. Okay, yeah, that's it. You all know that I just love to add some more sequins because I'm just a bit obsessed with them probably. But I'm going to adhere some more sequins today. And I am using sequins also from the Summer Mix by Pretty Pink Posh, also the flower sequins from Pretty Pink Posh, the 4mm lemon drops, the 4mm pink peonies, and then also the 8mm sparkling clear sequins. And I am using the 8mm sparkling clear sequins, just using them as they are, but I'm also piecing some sequins together. So I just really like the look of an 8mm sequin and a 4mm sequin together. So I'm just going to adhere each sequin using the glossy accents. So that finishes up the card for this week's Saturday STEM Day card and video. As you can see, this card has some watercolor sequins, a sequin shaker. So I'm happy with the results. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then you can give it a thumbs up if you would like to. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back next week. Bye!